If you still believe women will simply tell you how they feel, then you're already playing the game at a disadvantage. Not because you're not good enough, not because you lack value, but because you're looking for answers in the wrong place. Most men expect clarity to come through words. They think attraction sounds like, "I like you," or looks like obvious flirting. But the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. Women don't announce desire. They signal it, quietly, emotionally, almost invisibly. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it every single time. You'll misread silence as rejection when it's actually hesitation. You'll mistake nervousness for disinterest when it's actually attraction trying to stay hidden. And worst of all, you'll do nothing because you assume there's nothing there. But Sophia, the moment you begin to see what's really happening beneath the surface, everything shifts. You stop guessing, you stop chasing, and you start understanding. Let's begin with the first truth, the one most men overlook completely. Her eyes will always tell on her, before her words ever do. A woman can control her tone. She can manage her posture. She can even hide her intentions behind politeness. But her eyes? They betray everything. There's something raw and unfiltered about the way a woman looks at a man she's drawn to. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. But it's there, if you're present enough to notice it. It might be a glance that lingers just a second too long, or the way she looks away, then looks back again when she thinks you're not paying attention. Sometimes it's even softer than that, a warmth in her gaze, a subtle relaxation in her expression when you speak. That's not friendliness, that's interest. And here's what makes this even more important. Women don't just look at you, they're looking for something in you. Stability, calmness, presence. A man who doesn't fidget under pressure or break eye contact like he's unsure of himself. Because in that moment, she's not just observing you, she's feeling you. And if your energy is scattered, if your attention is weak, if your presence feels uncertain, she disconnects emotionally before anything even begins. But when you hold that moment, calmly, without forcing anything, something powerful happens. She softens, she stays, she leans in emotionally, even if she hasn't said a single word yet. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting, because once a woman feels something for you, she doesn't run toward you. She drifts, slowly, almost invisibly. This is where most men get confused. They expect bold moves, clear signals, obvious interest. But women don't operate like that, especially not mature, self-aware women. They don't chase, they position. They place themselves near you, again and again, as if it's coincidence. They choose the seat closer to you. They walk the same path. They appear in your space just enough for you to notice, but never enough to feel forced. And if you're not paying attention, you'll think it means nothing. But it means everything. Because attraction, for a woman, often begins in the subconscious. Her body moves before her mind gives permission. She slows down around you. She lingers in moments that should have already ended. She mirrors your energy without even realizing it. If you lean back, she relaxes. If you turn toward her, she shifts closer. This isn't random, it's instinct. It's her body responding to your presence, testing whether you're grounded enough to notice without reacting awkwardly. And this is where most men lose it. They either rush in too fast or freeze completely. But the man who understands, he does neither. He simply observes. He stays centered. He allows the moment to breathe. And in doing so, he creates space for her to come closer. Now let's talk about something that surprises almost every man. Because when a woman is attracted to you, she doesn't become smooth, seductive, or perfectly composed. She becomes nervous. Not weak, not insecure, but emotionally activated. Her body reacts before she can organize herself. She fidgets, she adjusts her hair, she laughs a little too quickly, or struggles to find the right words. And if you don't understand what you're seeing, you'll assume she's awkward or uninterested. But the truth? She's feeling something and trying to manage it at the same time. Attraction creates tension, and tension shows up in small, uncontrollable ways. Her voice might soften, her breathing might shift. She might avoid eye contact for a moment, not because she's uninterested, but because the moment feels too real. Sophia, this is where emotional intelligence separates the average man from the one who truly understands women. Because instead of judging her behavior, he reads it. Instead of reacting, he stays grounded. He understands that calmness in a woman often means indifference, but nervousness, that means she cares. And then there's her voice. This is one of the most overlooked signals, yet one of the most revealing. Because a woman can choose her words carefully, but she can't always control the tone behind them. When she feels drawn to you, her voice changes. It softens. It slows down. It becomes warmer, almost more intentional. Even strong, confident women experience this shift, not because they're trying to impress you, but because their feminine energy is responding to something in you. And here's the deeper truth most men never realize. Her voice doesn't just reflect how she feels, it reflects how you make her feel. If your energy is calm, grounded, and steady, her voice follows. If you're nervous, reactive, or trying too hard, she tightens up emotionally. This is why presence matters more than performance. You don't need lines, you don't need tricks. You just need to be steady enough for her to relax. Now let's go deeper, because this next signal is impossible to fake. Jealousy. Not loud, not dramatic, but subtle, quick, and incredibly revealing. A woman might hide her attraction. She might hide her curiosity. But when she sees another woman engaging with you, there's a flicker, a shift. Something in her expression changes, even if only for a second. Her smile tightens, her posture adjusts, her attention sharpens, and just like that, you see the truth she hasn't admitted yet. Because jealousy doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from investment. It comes from desire. It comes from the quiet realization that she doesn't want to lose your attention, even if she hasn't fully claimed it. Now here's where things become undeniable. Because at a certain point, her body stops hiding what her words are still trying to control. And it shows up in one of the simplest yet most overlooked ways. She leans in. Not dramatically, not in a way that screams intention, but slowly, naturally, almost as if she doesn't even realize she's doing it. You could be sitting across from her, talking about something completely ordinary, and then, little by little, the distance between you starts to close. Her body angles toward yours. Her shoulders soften. Her presence moves closer, as if something inside her is pulling her in. And here's the truth most men never hear. A woman leans in when she feels safe and curious, when she's drawn to your energy. Not your words, not your status, not what you're trying to prove, but the way you carry yourself. Your calm, your groundedness, your ability to stay present without forcing anything. That's what pulls her in. And the mistake most men make in this moment, they rush it. They lean in too fast. They break the tension she was carefully building. But a man who understands this dynamic, he doesn't chase the moment. He holds it. He allows her to come closer without collapsing into her space. Because attraction grows in that space, that tension, that silent pull. And then there's touch. This is where things move from subtle to undeniable. Because touch is instinctive, it's not calculated, it's not planned. And when a woman feels drawn to you, her body will find small, almost innocent ways to close that physical gap. She might brush your arm while laughing. Let her fingers linger just a second longer than necessary. Adjust something on your shirt. Tap your shoulder during conversation. At first glance, it looks harmless, accidental, meaningless, but it's not. Because women don't create physical contact with men they feel nothing for. They don't linger, they don't repeat it, and they definitely don't initiate it subconsciously. Touch is her way of testing the connection, feeling your energy, seeing how you respond. And here's where your reaction matters more than anything. If you tense up, you lose the moment. If you chase it, you overwhelm the moment. But if you stay grounded, calm, present, she feels it. And that calmness, it pulls her in even more because now she knows she's not dealing with a man who's easily shaken. She's dealing with a man who can hold himself. And that is rare. Now, let's go even deeper because some of the strongest signals don't come from what she does. They come from what happens around her when you walk in. This is what most men completely miss, the energy shift. You walk into a room and something changes. Maybe she straightens her posture. Maybe she becomes more aware of herself. Maybe she suddenly goes quiet or unexpectedly more talkative. Maybe she starts adjusting her hair, her clothes, small things that seem random, but they're not. Because attraction lives in the body before it reaches the mind. Her nervous system reacts to your presence before she even processes it logically. And that reaction, it changes her behavior. She becomes more alert, more aware, more present. She tracks where you are in the room, even if she's not looking directly at you. And if you're tuned in enough, you'll feel it. That subtle shift in the air, that quiet awareness between you, that unspoken connection that hasn't been acknowledged, but is very real. Sophia, this is where understanding moves beyond logic, because this isn't about analyzing behavior anymore. This is about feeling energy. And once you learn to trust that feeling, you stop second-guessing yourself. Now, here's one of the clearest signs of all, and yet it's the one most men overlook because it's not flashy. It's effort. Not big gestures, not dramatic moves, but small, consistent changes in how she shows up, specifically for you. She remembers details about you. She engages with you more than others. She puts more energy into conversations with you. She looks a little more put together when she knows you'll be around. She gives you attention she doesn't give anyone else. And it's subtle, so subtle that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. But once you see it, it becomes obvious. Because women don't invest energy where they feel nothing. They don't go out of their way. They don't adjust their behavior. They don't care that much. But when she does, it means something inside her has already shifted. She may not say it. She may not act on it directly, but her effort reveals what her words don't. And finally, we arrive at the deepest signal of all, the one that doesn't rely on sight, the one that doesn't rely on sound, the one you don't just see, you feel. Silent longing. This is the moment everything becomes undeniable. You're in the same space, and there's a tension, a pull, something unspoken but very present. She might not look at you right away. She might not say anything. She might even act completely normal, but your body feels it. That awareness, that connection, that quiet intensity that exists before a single word is spoken. And here's the truth, Sophia. Most men ignore this. They dismiss it. They overthink it. But more often than not, they're right. Because attraction doesn't begin with action. It begins with energy, with presence, with a subtle connection that forms beneath the surface. And when you learn to recognize that, everything changes. You stop chasing confirmation. You stop needing validation. You simply observe. You feel. You understand. And that's the real shift. Not learning lines, not memorizing techniques, but developing awareness. Because when you understand these signals, you no longer guess, you see. The eyes, the movement, the nervousness, the voice, the jealousy, the closeness, the touch, the energy, the effort, and that silent longing that says everything without saying a word. But here's something even more powerful. Because recognizing attraction is only half the equation. The other half? Knowing how to respond. And it starts with one simple truth. If you're still having surface-level conversations, you're not creating attraction. You're killing it. Let's be honest. Most conversations today are empty. Work, traffic, weather, random small talk that goes nowhere. And then men wonder why there's no chemistry, no connection, no spark. But Sophia, attraction doesn't live on the surface. It lives beneath it, in emotion, in curiosity, in depth. Women don't open themselves to men who only talk about what they do. They open to men who understand who they are. And that starts with the right kind of questions. Not scripted, not forced, but intentional. Questions that make her pause, think, feel. Questions that show you're not just trying to impress her, you're trying to understand her. Because the moment a woman feels seen, her guard drops, her energy softens, and her attraction begins to grow naturally. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it. You simply create the space and let it happen. Sophia, this is how you separate yourself from every other man. Not by doing more, but by seeing more, feeling more, understanding more. Because once you do, you don't just interact with women. You connect with them on a level most men never reach. And that changes everything.